Hey guys, so I am gonna try to get this carb off of there. I toyed with the idea of trying to get the air filter box out, but the manual implies that you can do it without taking that extra step. So if it's less work, I'm happy to give it a try. I already took the big the big ring here, and yeah, just so I won't lose it, I put the screw back on there, and then I'm in the process of loosening this up, and then according to the manual, you just kind of pry it out and then remove the throttle cable up here. So we shall give it a try. Stay tuned. So that wasn't too bad. With a little persuasion, I was able to pry it out of there. Fortunately, this boot back here still has some elasticity to it, which I think helped a lot, as does this. Hopefully that's not a crack. But yeah, it came out. So now I'm just going to take a quick look at it. Yeah, as you can see, it's pretty gummed up in there. It's going to require some cleaning. I may tackle this myself or bring it to a friend of mine who has an ultrasonic cleaner. But we shall see. I unscrewed the top, and I thought in the manual it said that this whole assembly would come out pretty easily, but like the needle is being a little bit stubborn, so rather than trying to pry it out with brute force and regretting it, I'm just going to go back to the manual and take another look. I've learned my lesson in the past. It's best to take your time with these things, or otherwise it gets very expensive, very time consuming, when 5 minutes looking at the manual again will save you a lot of grief. And so I'm going to do that and pop this into the intake over here so nothing gets into it. Be right back. Okay, so we're back. I consulted with the manual, and I think it basically just says to pull out the throttle valve. This will all come out, and I think that what's happening is that that valve is kind of stuck in there because of all the varnish. So I'm going to zap some carb cleaner in there. Hopefully it'll come loose and pull out. We'll see what happens. Just another adventure. I guess that's what happens when you don't really know about what you're doing. Okay, so success. I managed to pry the throttle valve out of the carburetor. I sprayed a little bit of carb cleaner in there. I tried to be careful because I know that there's a little, I know that there's a rubber piece up here and I believe carb cleaner will melt it. So I proceeded very carefully and just kind of got it out of there. So now I can open up the carb and maybe decide whether or not I want to get an ultrasonic cleaning. I guess the advantage of the ultrasonic cleaning for me is that the guy does a pretty thorough job, and there's, I guess it mitigates the risk of ruining O-rings or other rubber parts with carb cleaner, and it's pretty cheap, so I may go that route. But I'll have a think about that today, and then I think I'm gonna try to get this throttle valve off of that cable so that I can maybe lubricate that cable also. So anyway, there's a little progress. Stay tuned. A video for me to remember how this stuff all goes together. So I'm gonna try removing the throttle valve now and try to get that in the sun. And it looks like the cable kind of runs down into that little stop there. So I have a feeling if I adjust the cable adjuster up here, that it should slack up. It should slack up the cable enough for me to be able to pull it out of here. But again, that's what the assembly looks like. This is the kind of thing that I will easily lose track of over time then. But hopefully taking this video will help a little bit. It's because now the throttle valve is I mean, certainly the throttle is moving back and forth, which it wasn't before. It was basically frozen, and you can see that it's actually pulling cable pretty well. So I went ahead and sprayed some PB Blaster down there, and you can't see it because it looks like it pulled up all the cable, but it's going back and forth a lot better. And then I just figured while I was here, just go ahead and spray some PB Blaster in there, and I'm going to let it work just like I'm letting the rear brake cable work its magic, and then I will spray some thin lubricant down there to make sure that it stays nice and loose. So there you go.